My pleasure to be with you on today. As Dr. Renita said, the refining life is all about getting your life and refining it to the point that you can operate fully and purposefully and intentionally in your gifts and talents. And the topic on today is called Owning Your Power Like a Boss. And as Dr. Renita said, I am Veronica Matthews. I am a leadership coach and corporate trainer. My background is in human resources. And what I do is I help leaders to be able to operate in their leadership genius so that they can achieve their professional and their personal goals. And I'm also purposed to help women that have experienced some type of trauma, whether it be workplace or personal trauma, to be able to recover from that and rebuild their confidence. And so this topic of owning your power like a boss was really born out of my experience. I oftentimes found myself not really owning my power, not owning my power at all. And I experienced what I'll go into a little bit further, our power leaks, and also in times in which I gave my power away. And that does not create a very good platform for us to be able to have and do and be and have the things that God is destined for us to do. So I want to share with you what a boss is. Who do I consider to be a boss? What is that acronym? What does it stand for? And then I'm going to share with you some pieces about when we leak our power, whether we leak it because we are unaware of what we do, what we say, and what we think, and then also when we give it away. And in those instances, what we can do to plug those power leaks. And then I'm going to give you the 5 A's of walking in your personal power like a boss and owning it. All right, so let's get started. What I consider to be a boss is someone who is bodacious, an overcomer, that is strategic and steadfast. So let's break that down. When we say bodacious, we mean bold and unapologetic, bold and fully walking in excellence, being the leader that we were all called to be individually, and really standing in that flat-footed, not being ashamed and afraid to say what it is, who we are, and stand in that. And so the B of a boss is bodacious. Now, the overcomer comes from me being a child of the Most High God. We are all overcomers. Actually, 1 Corinthians 15-57 says that we are overcomers, and that we are the power is within us, and that we stand in that. And so that means, it doesn't mean that we'll never have bad experiences. It's just that we will always overcome them. We will be resilient, and we will stand in the victory. That's what 1 Corinthians 15-57 says, that we have the victory and that we have overcome. And then if we move to the first S is being strategic. Strategic means that we are clever, that we plan, and that we're prepared. And so in that strategy, the strategy tells us, and it creates the roadmap for how we're going to proceed. So a boss is bodacious and overcomer who is strategic. And the last is that we are steadfast. Steadfast means that we are going to stand flat-footed, that we're going to be unwavering, consistent, and committed. And so when you consider yourself to be a boss, because we all are, we're all leaders in our own right, and that we are operating as a boss is, that we're bodacious, we're overcomers, we're strategic, and we're steadfast. And so there are certain situations, life happens, right? Life happens to us, and it's all about how we respond to it, whether we react or whether we respond. In my opinion, there is a difference. You can react and have a knee-jerk emotional response that can take you off course, or you can have a very calculated response, which means that you're in control of your emotions and your mindset, and you're able to move forward. And that's really what being a boss is all about. So being bodacious, an overcomer who is strategic and steadfast. And so when you're operating in that sometimes and life happens, you get thrown off your game a little bit every once in a while. And so there are times when we either leak our power or we don't fully own it and give it away through what we do, what we say, and what we think. So let's break that down even further. When we think of who we are, and sometimes in our mindsets, we always don't own who we are through our thoughts. We think things such as limiting beliefs. There's always going to be fear. Fear is just like change. Fear is never going away. It's just a matter of how we move through that fear, and whether or not we're going to give in to the fear, or whether or not we're going to look fear in the face, in the eye, and say, I got this, and I'm going to move forward. I'm shaking in my boots, but I'm moving forward. And so in our thinking, sometimes we have a tendency to give away our power because we think that we have to do it all alone. We have that superwoman syndrome or that superman syndrome that says, I have to do this all alone because it's all about me. And it's not that it's all about you. It's just that you fear that you really can't invite other people in to do what you're doing and to join you in it. And actually, I call time out on that. And I say that we build our networks and we use them effectively. So that means if you're the smartest person in the room, you need a new room. And so in building your network and putting the people, the coaches, the mentors, the supporters, the advocates, putting all of them in your circle, and you're relying on them when the time comes. And you're saying, I am in this alone, but I've got my team with me and they're coming to help. And those reinforcements, when they're needed, you can call them on. And then also another way in which we give our power away is through unforgiveness and holding grudges. And unforgiveness, there's unforgiveness in business, there's unforgiveness in our personal lives, and there's people that have hurt us that we're still holding on to that hurt and pain. That does us more harm than good, because the person who's hurt us has already gone on and they're living their life. And so in that unforgiveness, we're holding ourselves back. And so in our thinking, we're going to shift that, and we're going to forgive, and we're going to release it. Release that person because they're holding rent in our heads and they're not paying for it, and they're holding us back. So we're going to release that. So we're going to own our power through what we think, and we're going to forgive them and release it. Now, sometimes we leak our power in the things that we think through having our limiting beliefs. And in those limiting beliefs, we believe that we're less than, we don't know our worth, we don't stand for our worth, we don't stand for our values, and we leak our power in that way. And so how do we take that? How do we hold that back? How do we plug up that leak? Well, we plug up that leak through a growth mindset, through learning from our situations and our the things that are not necessarily always positive. We have a mindset that we're going to win or we're going to learn. And learning out of that means that maybe it didn't work out like we anticipated. And maybe we stumbled and we failed, but we got back up. And so what did we learn from that? So we're looking at our life. Joyce Myers, in a book that I read called the mind connection, she said that life is lived forward but understood backward. And so as we understand, as we go back and look at some of the things that are going on or have happened, we learn from what we've been through. But we're not afraid to move forward into trying something new, because we're always going to be thinking, and we're going to plug up that power leak, and we're going to actually think that going into the situation, either I'm going to win or I'm going to learn. Another way in which we give away our leak our power is through our self-doubt and our negative mindset. I am an author in a book called Qualified to Reign: Memoirs of a Resilient Queen. And I share the story of 2017, when I was released from a job and decided, okay, well, I'm going to operate in my business full time. And I was not ready. As Kevin Hart said, I wasn't ready. I was not ready. My mind was all over the place. I had limiting beliefs. I talk to myself in a way that I wouldn't talk to a 5-year-old or my best friend. I didn't think that I was prepared, and I had imposter syndrome, and I let my inner critic talk me out of a lot of opportunities, and I wasted time. And so I share my journey in that. And so I know through my experience now that I can plug that leak of listening to my negative inner critic by positively affirming myself. When I'm in the situation is not the time to have my affirmations handy. I need to write my affirmations of who I am, what I'm capable of doing, how I will be, what my destiny is, write all of that and have it handy, so that when the challenging times come, all I have to do is look at that, or maybe even affirm myself every morning as part of my morning routine. That's what I chose to adopt. I have a morning routine that consists of my everyday affirmations that remind me of who I am. And then also what it does is, at the moment during the day where I forget who I am, I can go back to my affirmations and remind myself of who I am. So when we think of plugging our power leaks in what we think, we're going to forgive. We're going to positively affirm ourselves. We're going to have a growth mindset to either win or learn, and we're going to intentionally build our network and ask for support. Now, sometimes in what stands in the way of us being bodacious overcomers that are strategic and steadfast is sometimes we leak power and we give away our power in what we say. Now, there are things called power words, and oftentimes we don't understand what those power words are. And so when we consider that the things that we say, sometimes we say just, sometimes we say but. And when we're saying just, what we're doing is minimizing what's coming after that just. Instead of take just out of the equation altogether and just say what you have to say. This is particularly an email. When you're writing and you say, oh, I just called, or I just wrote, or I just want. No, you want what you want. And so you're going to launch directly into that. And where the language that leaks our power is but, I am but, or I do but. Take that but out. Replace that but with and. Have it be an and instead of an and or. Have it be an and both, a both and, right? In that you can be a mom and you can operate your business. You can be a mom and be an executive. You can be a wife and still run a powerful business. And so you can have what you want, what you desire, what God has shared that you can have. You can have it, and you can have your power at the same time through using your power words. Other and disempowering words that we can sometimes use is I have to. Dr. Renita at the top of the hour, I think maybe when we were talking offline, she says, I get to do this. And I thought that was so beautiful and so aligned with what I'm sharing, because she already has her power language on deck, because she is choosing to. She already operates and I get to, as opposed to I have to, because I have to takes your power away. And it says that you're defeated already because you're not looking forward to it. But I get to gives you a sense of excitement and encouragement and helps you move forward. Other ways in which we leak our power through what we say is by having the should. Stop shoulding all over yourself. Now, I'm not cursing, but I'm just saying that sometimes when we use, oh, I should, we're removing we're putting ourselves in a situation in which we're saying, I'm obligated to, as opposed to, how about I choose to? I choose to do X, Y, and Z because it empowers me, or I choose to do, I choose to have a successful business. I choose to have a great sales process. So when you're in those situations and you can edit yourself, replace the shoulds with the I choose. And then also you have the things like I sort of, or I guess, or I think, and those words can be replaced with more powerful words such as I recommend, I suggest, I actually propose, or I urge. And those are more empowering words. And we don't always realize that we're leaking our power through what we say, and we can actually have more powerful words. Another huge way in which we give our power up in what we say is by not speaking up. So how we plug that means that we're sitting in the meeting and there's an opportunity for us to ask a question, or there's an opportunity for us to add value. There's an opportunity for us to have our voice in the conversation, and we shy away from that. We back off. Sis, brother, I am encouraging you to speak up. Yes, thank you, Yolanda. Empowering words are how we plug our power leaks. And so, and as we're practicing speaking up and using our voice, we're going to use our power words in that. I suggest, I recommend, what I hear and what I encourage others to do is X, Y, and Z. And so one of my clients is a leader in a very large health organization. And one of the things that she did is she encouraged herself to speak up at every single meeting, only when it's authentic and organic. But she encouraged herself in that to speak up at every single meeting, and she found her power again. And through that, she's now adding value to conversations, and she's being heard, and she's being noticed, and she's on the radar for promotional opportunities, and actually has been tapped for other opportunities in which she can share her leadership. And so when we stop giving our power away and we actually speak up and exercise our voice, we can operate and own our power like a boss. One of the last ways in which we leak our power is through the things that we do. Sometimes we will not make a decision. We'll sit on things, we'll go through analysis paralysis. And how we can plug that leak is to be willing to take risks. Get out there, make a decision, and understand that you're either going to win or learn, and that in that you're taking a calculated risk because you've weighed the cost, you know all the information, and therefore you're going to move forward with the confidence that you have in that you've done your due diligence and your preparation, and you just got to pull the plug. Not taking action is another way in which we leak our power. Yes, Yolanda, indecisiveness will do so much to harm your future. You are absolutely right. Because when we're undecided about things, we miss opportunities. I remember being in a networking event, and one of the young ladies said that when you're struggling with procrastination, that remembering that time kills deals. That was powerful to me because as an entrepreneur, I market myself to organizations. And if I procrastinate about taking action, and if I procrastinate about the decisions and don't make the decisions, I am leaving money on the table. And that stops me from living as a bodacious overcomer who is strategic and steadfast. So time kills deals. And that helps me now to not be a procrastinator. It helps me now not to sit in my fear. Fear is, as I mentioned before, fear is always going to be there. It's just a matter of sucking it up and breathing deep and moving forward. Take one little step. And when you find them, when you take that one little step, the rest of the staircase will come because you've moved and you've operated in your power. You've harnessed your power and now you're moving forward. And in that moving forward, you're then able to take another action because you can celebrate the fact that you took that first action. And then that gives you intentional momentum moving forward. And then that is the snowball running down the hill. Now you've gotten that momentum and you can continue to move forward and move forward. So once you make your decision, take your action. Don't stand in that fear and let that fear paralyze you. Actually take action. And then another way in which, through things we do, that we leak our power is to not to seek external validation. When we seek external validation, we're telling ourselves, I don't trust you, Veronica, or Yolanda, or Dr. Renita. I don't trust you enough to move forward. I want someone else to tell me what to do. I want someone else to affirm that I am a powerful woman and that I can move forward. No, I affirm myself. I don't need anybody else's permission. I don't need anybody else's validation because when I look in the mirror, I'm able to say that I am a child of the Most High God and that I am walking in my destiny and my purpose, and I'm proud of it. And so when I'm able to affirm myself in that way, then I show myself that I trust myself. So I plug that power leak of looking for external validation by giving myself the validation that I need through my affirmations. Also, operating in burnout and overwhelm is a great place to leak your power. We often don't realize that because when we have burnout and overwhelm, we're just running on all cylinders and we're not giving ourselves the opportunity to replenish. So the way in which we can plug up that power leak is to operate in self-care. Give ourselves self-care day. Focus on one area of our self-care every single day. And I think that there are 6 areas in which we should focus on self-care. On our physical body, of course, our mental aptitude and being able to continuously learn, through our emotional balance, but ensuring that we have the proper support, maybe even seeing a therapist. Then there is financially, that we're balanced and operating from a budget and we're living within our means. And then there is the social aspect of in a physical and socially distanced environment that we find ourselves now, maintaining connection with others through Zoom, through conversations on the phone, through meeting in the park, and you both open your doors and be like the police, and one park this way, one park that way, just to connect and see another person. Whatever it takes to be intentional about your social well-being is what we need to do. And then the last area is in our area. So I said physical, mental, emotional, social, financial, and the last area, it doesn't come to mind right now, but focusing on our self-care in all of those areas gives us the opportunity to be able to live a balanced life and avoid overwhelm and burnout. And then lastly, in the way in which we give away our power and what we do is we play small. We actually don't take up a lot of space. And how we plug that power leak is through taking up space and actually having a posture, maybe even practicing our important power poses. In the middle, do our Wonder Woman stance or our V victory, and take up space so that when we get on our Zoom calls, we're not shrinking. thinking. We're not having our camera off, but we're operating in our power, and we're showing we're bringing our complete selves to the table. And then we've talked about asking for permission. But one of a large way in what we do is and leaking our power and giving it away is remaining in our comfort zone. Yes, the comfort zone is cozy and it's warm. There is no growth there. There's no advancement there. Our personal power is is dependent on us playing full out, showing up, and taking up space, and using our voice, and being outside of our comfort zone. So remember the times in which you think and do and say things that may cause you to leak or give away your power. You now are able to plug up those power leaks. And so I have 5 A's for you in operating in your full power like a boss. So we ready? Got your pen and paper? Let's get it. The first one is to be self-aware. And so that means that you know who you are, whose you are, what you're capable of, and that you stand in your physical, emotional well-being and your mental well-being. You know your edges. You know when you're getting a little tired and listless, and you know what you can do to counteract that. You know when you're losing your attention and your focus, and you know what you can do to counteract that. So being self-aware. When you are self-aware, and you operate in your self-awareness, and you take care of yourself through your self-care, then you're able to operate in your full power and plug your power leaks. So that self-care and that self-awareness go hand in hand, and that helps us to be bodacious overcomers who are strategic and steadfast. The second A is to be authentic. There are several sayings that are popular out there with, be yourself because everybody is always already taken. Don't try to fit in when you were born to stand out. I can say all of those things. Don't water yourself down in order to make other people comfortable. Being authentic means that you operate in who you are comfortably, and you're able to share that. Oftentimes we edit ourselves because people have told us, oh, you're too loud. Oh, you're too boisterous. Be loud. Be boisterous if that's you, because that is a gift that God has given you to be and say what the truth is. Stand in your truth and be authentic, and you will be owning your power and plugging your power leaks. The third A is to be accountable. When we aren't accountable to others, that means that we can sometimes let ourselves off the hook when it comes to when we're wanting to achieve our goals and move forward and operating in our full power. So sometimes if we have accountability partners, they won't let us weasel out of doing what we said we would do and being who we said we would be. So when we're accountable to others and we have our accountability partners, we share with them what we're up to. And in sharing with them what we're up to, we're sharing with them what we're going to do by when. And then we ask them to help hold us accountable to that. So they're checking in. They're saying, sis, how you doing with that? You said that you would, be watching what you ate and getting out for walks. How's that going? What support do you need? So this is your team. This is your coach, your mentor, your partner, and your accountability partners who are going to help hold you accountable to do what you said that you would do. And when you have accountability partners and you're accountable, then you're able to operate in your full power like a boss. The next thing is that you're aligned. When I mean aligned, and I think this is the A that should replace attainable and SMART goals. So SMART goals, we're all familiar with that. They are specific, measurable. I say aligned. time bound, and realistic, because realistic and time bound, because alignment means that your goals, your inner compass, your values, that is what guides the goals that you set for yourself. And when you're aligned, that means that you're doing the work that feeds your soul. And if you're not in alignment right now, then this is an opportunity to do your self-evaluation of what your values are, what is important to you, and then finding the organization or the business opportunity that will allow you to be aligned. And when you're aligned in what you do and what you say and what you think, then you're operating in your full power like a boss, and you're owning it, and you're plugging you. There are no leaks, and there's no opportunity for you to give your power away. And so when you're not aligned, then that means you're going to the whim of others, and your internal compass is not leading and guiding you. And so when you're aligned, then you're able to move forward and operate in your power. And the last A is for you to take action. As I've mentioned, I think 3 times now, the fear is always going to be there. You're always going to have the fear of rejection, or the fear of putting yourself out there, the fear of success, or the fear of failure, or the fear of being left out, or the fear. There's always going to be some kind of fear. What we can do is we can straighten our posture, we can breathe, and we can know that we have what it takes to move forward. And we're going to take one small action and celebrate that, celebrate ourselves for taking that action. And then that gives us the momentum for taking other actions. And when we have that snowball effect and we continue to gain momentum and continue to move forward, then we're able to operate in our power like a boss. And again, a boss is bodacious, overcomer who is strategic and steadfast. And then when we're self-aware, when we're authentic, when we're accountable, aligned, and we take action, we're able to operate in our full power and own our power